glasses, but they say you use stuff to scratch up your glasses. How you cleaning your glasses with stuff to scratch your glasses? I'm working on. I'm sorry. Oh, y'all weren't supposed to hear all of that. Where am I? Right here. Okay. Let me. So, Budget Director Sabrina Maynard, our Finance Director Rob DeBoe, Clean and Green Director Carlton Williams, our City Solicitor Renee Garcia, is Chief Deputy Mayor Sincere Harris. Okay. Tiffany, Vanessa? Okay, they're not. I want to walk through here. I want to start Philadelphia, and you're going to hear me just run through a litany of names of individuals who have played a significant role in helping us to achieve many of the collaborative and, quite frankly, I believe, milestone achievements in the Parker administration as it relates to our labor negotiations. Kyra is here. Where Kyra? Kara's not here. Lauren Fox is here. Hi, Lauren. Kat Lamb is here. Kat's here. Liz Mitchell and Susie from Budget. Liz and Susie, don't make me do it. Come on up here. Come on up here. Give them a round of applause. Behind the scenes, doing the work. Harry Hansen is, if Harry's here, you come on up. Oh, you're here? Okay. Our Sanitation Commissioner, Crystal Jacob Shipman, our Managing Director, Adam Teal, our Deputy Managing Director, Mike Carroll, and Acting Water Commissioner, Ben Jewell. Now, here you're going to hear me read some names of the entire Administrative Governing Board, the First Judicial District of Pennsylvania, because people forget that the courts are also greatly involved in our labor negotiations. And we have President Judges Nina Wright Padilla and Francis Shields, Administrative Judges Sheila Wood Skipper and Jaffe Pittman, Administrative Judge Dan Anders and Walter Oshesky. Did I say it? Did I get it, Renee? Yes. Okay. Or Judge O. Judge O. Oh, I like that even better. Judge O. Court Administration, Richard McSorley, Eric, who is the Assini, Eric Assini, and Valerie Jowett. I want to say a special thank you to each of them. Good evening, or good afternoon, Philadelphia. On the purpose today for us, our purpose is to share some good news about the substantial progress that the Parker administration has made recently in negotiating contract agreements with the labor unions that represent our municipal workforce, the best municipal workforce in the country, in my opinion. Now, today feels like the right time for me as mayor of our city to recap for you what we've done so far this year, because much of it is truly historic and, quite frankly, unprecedented, and also to bring some new information to the public as well as it relates to our labor negotiations this year. All of the work we've done collectively is about balancing how much we value our employees, our greatest resource, and ensuring that we are fiscally responsible so that we, and quite frankly, future mayors can provide services to Philadelphians that we all deserve. We have some new contract ratifications to talk about today, including new contracts with unions that represent our court employees and supervisors, and we will get there in a minute. But first, I want to give you a brief recap of the historic work done so far this year. I'll start with District Council 33. We reached a 3-year agreement with AFSCME District Council 33 for its members that pays them more over my 4-year term than they have earned under any mayor dating back 30 years. I'm excited about that, and I'm pleased about that. Now, there was obviously a work stoppage before we reached that agreement with District Council 33, and I'm going to, a little later, talk about the fiscal impact of that work stoppage in a moment. However, I am proud of the agreement that we reached with the men and women of District Council 33. We are glad that everyone is back to work and our city's residents see the results on a daily basis. Their trash is being collected. Our water department is ensuring that safe drinking water is delivered to our citizens, and many other essential services are being delivered. Now for District Council 47, municipal employees, you know, we've reached a 3-year agreement with AFSCME District Council 47 for its members that pays them more over my 4-year term than under any other mayor dating back 30 years. Important for me to affirm for each agreement, the context is important for Philadelphians to know. The men and women of District Council 47, who are they? These are our social workers, our librarians, our parks and recreation center workers. They perform many other essential tasks for our citizens, and we value them as well. Next, there was the FOP Lodge 5. We agreed to a 2-year arbitration award with the FOP Lodge 5 for the hardworking men and women who patrol our streets, protect our residents, and provide public safety 24/7, 365 for Philadelphia. And we're really proud of that agreement as well. Now we have some more good news to announce today, that the United Steelworkers, Local 286. Now, Philadelphia, I said this to someone in a conversation not long ago, that we were negotiating with the United Steelworkers. And Director Williams, people were, why is the city of Philadelphia negotiating with the steelworkers? What people didn't know is that Local 286, who we just ratified a 3-year contract with this past week, they represent the men and women at the 1st Judicial District. They are the backbone of our courts, our court clerks, our court reporters, running our courtrooms and maintaining our courthouses to make sure every case gets through the judicial system. So we are extremely pleased there. Then we have District Council 47, who also represents court employees. So we have an agreement on a new 3-year contract for that it's another bargaining unit with District Council 47, that is Local 2186, which represents first-level supervisors at the 1st Judicial District, and that agreement was ratified on Tuesday this week. The men and women of Local 2186, what do? They help maintain public safety for Philadelphians by supervising adults and juveniles who have been released from jail or prison or are on pretrial house arrest, and connecting them with job training, substance abuse treatment, and other resources. And we also have a tentative agreement on a 3-year contract with District Council 47, Local 810, which also represents employees in our juvenile and adult justice system. And that ratification vote is scheduled for next week. Now, I want to be clear now, and I walked through all of those agreements so that you could have context on each of them. But it's important to affirm that none of the progress that you just heard me mention and these agreements, none of them happen by accident. They happen because the Parker administration created a labor reserve When we introduced our budget, we had a recommended labor reserve appropriation that was included in it and supported by our City Council President, Kenyatta Johnson, and members of council that included $550 million in our fiscal year 2026 budget and 5-year plan. Now, I also want you to know this, Philadelphia, because you often hear me say, don't listen simply to what I say. I want you to watch what I do. No mayor has ever created a labor reserve of that size and magnitude before. And it has been that foresight and that vision from our budget and finance team. And I want you to know we have the best budget and finance team, not just here in the city of Philadelphia, in the Commonwealth, and I will argue in any local government in the nation. And that team is led by our budget director, Sabrina Maynard, and our finance director, Rob DeBoe. Please give them a super huge round of applause again. I couldn't do any of this without you. Our labor team, led by Chief Deputy Mayor Sincere A. Harris. Can you give her a round of applause, please? And from every member of this administration, working constantly to achieve these results that value. That it shows in a very tangible way that we value our municipal workforce. You've heard me say before that I am unapologetic about affirming that throughout my whole career, since I've had the honor and privilege of being a servant leader and elected official, that I am a pro-union, pro-labor, and a pro-worker public servant, and nothing about that will ever change. Now, the additional news that we have to share on today is extremely important, because I can remember some days when we were going through, how many, was it 8 days, 7 days, eight-day work stoppage this past summer, affirming to the people of the city of Philadelphia that I would always empower the tool of transparency and accountability as it related to the city of Philadelphia's fiscal standing. And I told the public that when we settled with District Council 33 and agreed to that new 3-year contract in July, that when everything was settled and done, we would do a budgetary accounting and total up what all of the costs were from that work stoppage, and we tell the people of Philadelphia what those results were when we concluded our research. And that is exactly what we have done, Philadelphia. Under the direction of our budget director, Sabrina Maynard, and her team, in partnership with the impacted departments, our team has calculated first the payroll costs not incurred as a result of the work stoppage, along with number 2, the added payroll costs paid out because of the work stoppage, and also number 3, how much the city spent in non-payroll expenses. Now, these non-payroll expenses include things like sanitation, emergency services, repairs, legal fees, and other support programs related to the work stoppage. The bottom line is this: there was a net cost to the city's general fund during that work stoppage of approximately $5.4 million. That's the number that people have an interest in knowing. When we went through that 8-day work stoppage, what was the fiscal impact that it had on the city of Philadelphia? And Mayor, how much did it cost? Remember that number, $5.4 million. Now, you can see from the chart next to me here what those avoided payroll costs were, what the added payroll costs were, and what our non-payroll costs were. Our budget director, Sabrina Maynard, and finance director, Rob DeBoe, they are going to address the avoided payroll costs and the added payroll costs in more detail. And then we're going to transition to our Clean and Green Director, Carlton Williams. He's going to walk through the non-payroll costs that the city incurred during the work stoppage in more details. Now, there were, very complicating and, quite frankly, complex factors at play during this work stoppage, necessitating the contracts that we entered into. And again, Director Williams will address them on today. We will also be posting in Philadelphia. This is extremely important, not for me as mayor and or members of my administration to stand here and share this information with you during this press conference, but again, empowering the tool of transparency so that every Philadelphian who is interested has access to this information is extremely important. That is why we will be posting the budget report on the District Council 33 work stoppage costs online at www.phila.gov, where the people of Philadelphia can read it for themselves. And I believe that that is government transparency in action, and no one has to rely on a filter for someone to deliver that information to them. They will be able to read the report directly. So after Sabrina, Rob, and Carlton speak, we'll come back and take some questions from the press. Sabrina and Rob.
Thank you, Mayor. Yep, so the transparency is very important to us. We want people to understand what we're doing and how we get to the numbers that we get to. We want Philadelphia's taxpayers to know what they're paying for. So we will walk you through how we got to that $5.4 million, which again was net of some avoided costs and some additional costs. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Sabrina to walk through the details.
All right, so I'm going to walk through some math. So to calculate the net cost of this work stoppage, we had to look at a lot of payroll data. So we took payroll data from this year, and we looked at payroll data from last year, and we did a comparison. So this enabled us to identify the differences between what we spent last year under sort of normal operations and what we spent this year during the work stoppage. And then we isolated out the part of that that was DC 33 and the part of it that was for other employees. So the DC 33 piece showed a difference of about $4.7 million in avoided payroll costs. So these are costs that we had in the previous year that we didn't have this year. And so we think that's a good proxy for what the avoided costs were related to DC 33 employees. We then did a similar comparison for 47 employees, for fire employees, for police employees, non-rep employees, the non-represented ones, and exempt employees. This shows that we then added about $3.9 million in additional costs. So those are non-DC 33 costs that were added. So $4.7 million avoided costs, $3.9 million in new costs. And then we worked directly with fiscal staff across all of the impacted departments that had a role in the work stoppage work, many of whom are represented up here, to kind of talk about what their new costs were that they didn't have last year, that they had this year related to the work stoppage. The new costs for these contracted services, materials, supplies, equipment added another $6.2 million in costs. So if you take the three things together, kind of shown on that chart, the $4.7 million in avoided payroll costs, the $3.9 million in new added payroll costs, and the $6.2 million in new non-payroll costs, it nets out to that $5.4 million number. I'm now going to turn it over to our Director of Clean and Green to talk a little more about some of our non-payroll costs.
Awesome, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carlton Williams, Director of Clean and Green Initiatives for the City of Philadelphia. I am here today to talk about one of the services that was tremendously impacted during the work stoppage over that 8-day period. And before I begin, I do want to acknowledge our Commissioner, Crystal Jacobs Shipman, who did a tremendous job helping us get through that very challenging and difficult time. So thank you, Commissioner, and certainly want to thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and in the entire team for helping us get through that process, especially our labor relations team that helped us restore our services back. to a normal operation. During the stoppage, sanitation operated in a modified capacity. There was no residential trash and recycling collection for that period. The Department of Sanitation actively monitored 60 dumpster locations and worked throughout the city to increase that capacity wherever needed. Dumpsters were being serviced multiple times per day, and vendor placed dumpsters containers with empty ones to maintain capacity. The drop-off sites across the city were located in strategic locations where people had access to them. Some of them, again, and we thank the residents for their patience and their cooperation during that time, but they allowed us to provide a temporary service to get us through some very challenging issues. But that cost of the operation cost us $3.4 million. There were multiple vendors who provided those dumpster services, included Waste Management, ReWorld, and Elliott Lewis. Also, I do want to highlight the importance of some of the smaller companies that played a tremendous role in helping us supplement some of the lack of service. October Ocean was one of the services that were provided. This was a small company that provided manual labor, removing trash around overflowing dumpsters, same-day work employees. This truly was an all-hands-on-deck operation, and I want to thank them for their hard work. Other agencies, such as the Community Life Improvement Program, Future Track, and so many others, all contributed to that process while we were going through it. The stoppage was very fluid and involving. We were responding in real time to issues and to ensure that residents had access to safe and clean drop-off locations. We also experienced some challenges with equipment. For example, compactors, sweepers, and brooms that we used for collection was at some point inaccessible due to picket lines. And we also, when we accessed that equipment, we found some of the equipment that were damaged, over 155 pieces at $78,000 in cost. So all of those were included in the cost that I'm mentioning today. Many of our sites experienced heavy amounts of illegal dumping as well. Construction debris, bulk waste, tires, and other items that were not collected at the disposal sites contributed to those increased costs. And so we needed other contractors to come in. Heavy equipment, including front-end loaders and dump trucks, was needed to remove piles from overflowing trash at authorized sites, but also at unauthorized sites where they were illegally dumped in lots, recreation centers, parks, schools, and anywhere else people tried to dispose of their material. The firm PIO provided the majority of the heavy equipment at a cost of $2.1 million. And although the stoppage concluded on July 8th, the operations continued till July 13th, until it allowed us to transition back to a normal operational service. In addition to those costs, we also had a major special event on July 4th. Ms. Giselle Jones is here as well, and we had to provide the cleanup operations and services along with our great police department. Those costs were also included. So let me recap what those costs included. So the dumpster service operation, which included Waste Management, ReWorld, and Elliott Lewis, was $3.4 million. In addition, the heavy equipment operators that we needed to bring in along with the dump trucks as trash began to overflow at those sites was another $2.1 million, encompassing $5.5 million for the total operation. Normal trash collection resumed citywide on Monday, July 14th, with residents who began to set out materials for their normal operation. We welcomed our employees back and to continue the great work that we have done to restore our city back to normal operations. And again, we wanted to thank and continue to express to our residents of Philadelphia the patience, cooperation, and gratitude throughout the whole process. Thank you.
Again, I just want to affirm that all of this information will be readily available on the city's website on phila.gov. And now we want to answer any questions that you may have. Anna?
Mayor, how do you feel about the city bearing these significant costs? And could any of them have been avoided if the administration had done anything differently in the negotiation process?
Oh, that's a very good, welcome back, Anna. That's a good question. I would dare say to you that the city of Philadelphia, I in particular as mayor, again, long-term supporter of municipal workers, organized labor, unions in particular, have the utmost respect for and appreciation for the men and women who keep our city moving. When you hear me affirm publicly that we have the best municipal workforce in the nation, I can say it affirmatively because I see it, we see it on a daily basis. We work because of them. When I think about the work, I'm thinking about you, Director Williams, and Commissioner Crystal Jacobs Shipman. I'm thinking about Cara, Sincere, Lauren. I'm thinking about the law department, Renee Garcia and her team. And most importantly, I'm thinking about the people. And this is where subject matter experts mean a great deal. Rob DeBow. Rob DeBow has been a part of the city's finance structure, our budget structure. He has been the nucleus of that structure. How many mayors, Rob? I'm going to tell your age. I just want you. How many mayors? Four mayors here in the city of Philadelphia. Sabrina Maynard, our budget director. We did the best we could, Anna, with what we had, ensuring that we could make sure that we addressed the concerns financially. Because when we talk about our municipal workforce, you have to think about their salaries, we think about their health care, we think about the stability, the solvency of Philadelphia's municipal pension fund. And I am unapologetic, no matter how unpopular it may be, I am unapologetic about making sure that retirement security in the city of Philadelphia for our municipal workforce, that along with the city's finances, will always have to be the strong fiscal ground on which we stand. When I think about our budget's approval by PICA in our 5-year plan, and as mayor of the city of Philadelphia, I think about, in Philadelphia, I don't mind being transparent and sharing it with you. Since I've been here, and I think about meetings that I may have tossed and turned about a great deal, I'm thinking about Moody's, S&P, and Fitch. Those are the rating agencies, Philadelphia. You consider them our Equifax, TransUnion, and I miss Experian. They are the agencies that determine what the city of Philadelphia's credit rating will be and how much it will cost us when we need to borrow. I want you to think about the bond issuance for the $2 billion home program, $800 million that we plan to use. So I had to think about all of that, Anna, from a fiscal stability perspective. And do I think the union leaders, and let me say a special thank you to all of our municipal union leadership. All of them did exactly what they are supposed to do, represent the best interests of their constituency and make sure that they extract the best possible deal that they possibly can for their constituency, and they did that, and I respect them for their work. What could we have done different? I would say to you and my team, we did the best we could with what we had. I'm a very communicative person. I think, my team will tell you that my standard, they know they're the subject matter experts on whatever the particular issue is. Don't come and sit in the room and talk to me about an issue until you brought all of the experts and the stakeholders together around the table. You make sure you build consensus around a menu of options that you will then present to me as the mayor of this city. That's what we do, and that's what we did. And so continuing to have that communication, Sincere Harris, Chief Deputy Mayor, talked a lot about after the work stoppage. I think the language she used was healing. I would liken it to trust, building trust and strengthening our relationships with our municipal workforce. I'm never going to stop doing that. But I think we did the best we could, and I think the leadership of the municipal workforce of those unions, I think they did the best they could with what they had. I'll tell you what I am proud of. I'm proud of that we made a decision during these negotiations that will ensure that I don't care who the mayor of the city of Philadelphia will be for generations to come. If they stick to the schedules that we work through, no mayor will come in facing what I had to face as mayor of the city of Philadelphia. That is, needing to negotiate with all of our municipal unions at the same time. Now we'll be on a different schedule. I think 3-year schedule and then a 2-year schedule. That's what we did, right? So I'm excited about that. Again, that's not just about us, but it's about the fiscal stability of the city and in the future. And I think everyone, I know my team, because I saw collaboration at work. I saw emotions high. I saw, people, suffering a little bit from sleep deprivation, but still pushing through in the midst of it all. I saw the men and women standing up for a living wage, and they should have, and I support them 1,001%. So I think everyone did what they should have been doing in this process, and I don't regret anything about the negotiations that we've had. The only thing I will always say is that communication, and not just communication when we are negotiating. We have to talk when we are not negotiating. I see our CAO, Camille Duchesset, sitting in the back, who should be up here standing with me right now, shaking her head, along with my chief of staff, Tiffany Thurman, sitting in the back. But that's what we talk about. When you talk about, how do you make sure you strengthen relationships of any kind? I don't care, personal relationships, professional relationships. You do it by improving communication and making sure it's done on a regular basis, and quite frankly, not just when we're in crisis mode. It's hard to make me think that you care about me when the only time I get a chance to talk to you is when I see you when we're in the middle of crisis. If you don't believe that explanation, I want you to think about what our foundation with policing has been here in the city of Philadelphia. It's just not crisis response policing we needed. We needed community-based policing so that residents could see the men who are sworn to protect and serve them, not when a community is only in the middle of crisis, but on a regular basis to strengthen that relationship. Yes, sir.
Were there any calls incurred by the city by the backing out of the talented political forum at the Welcome America?
Well, I'm thinking about our Wawa Welcome America. And Giselle, you were on that. Giselle, we were on a board meeting with Wawa Welcome America, I think maybe about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. And I'm happy to tell you that as it related to the artists, remember we had 2 artists who were scheduled to headline our July 4th celebration, and both of them, because of the challenges we were facing at that time, decided that they would not participate. I am happy to report that the city of Philadelphia in no way, shape, or form incurred any costs and or lost any revenue as a result of that decision making. And that's not just a thank you to Wawa Welcome America or the city of Philadelphia. That's also a thank you to those artists, their managers, and the firms that represent them. So no, Philadelphia didn't lose a penny. Anna?
You mentioned you're a pro-union mayor. How do you feel in retrospect that the city spent millions on what the union called scab labor and scab operation?
So, I want to be very direct here. You've heard me say on a number of occasions that I will not allow my pride, ego, or emotions, or politics of any kind to interfere with my responsibility in ensuring the public health and safety of the people of this city. That was a public health and safety crisis. As mayor of the city of Philadelphia, it is and was my duty to ensure that I employed the use of any and every resource readily available to me so that I could fulfill my duty as mayor to ensure the public health and safety of the residents of our city. And at no time will I ever allow anything like that to happen and not employ the use of any a resource readily available. So I would argue to you, I mean, you know, folks can use whatever term they would like to describe those men and women who helped us, and I thank you, Director Williams, for affirming those small contractors. And Commissioner Crystal Jacobs Shipman, I'm thinking about those essential calls, you know, late at night into the wee hours of the morning. I'm thinking about all of the firms. I'm thinking about the people who worked for them. I'm thinking about the city of Philadelphia's fleet of equipment that we use and having to find firms that had access to their own equipment, right? And to help us do what we needed to do across the city of Philadelphia. So I am grateful. And to me, those services and supports and that equipment, it was essential during a public health and safety crisis here in the city of Philadelphia. And I am grateful that we have gotten through that moment, but our municipal workforce got right back to work. I mean, they jumped in, they didn't miss a beat, and we're moving the city of Philadelphia forward, and they're the foundation of it all. Someone? Thank you all so very much for your time, and thank you, team. Can we? Because we haven't done this, I know we have two more to go. Sincere, Deputy Mayor Sincere Harris, we have two more. What are we working? Three more. So can you tell us the three that we're working on?
The remaining contracts are all interest arbitration. So we have Local 22, the International Association for Firefighters. We actually have another FOP contract with the row office and sheriff's deputies, and then 159B, which is a local within DC 33. Those are our prison employees. Those are the three that they all have to go through interest arbitration, and we are in that process now.
But again, Philadelphia, the people that you see here, and I am very intentional. I know sometimes people say, well, you do the same thing over and over again. I want you to know I'm the mayor of the city of Philadelphia, but to run this city and to reach all of the milestone negotiations and agreements that you have heard me reference here on today, none of it is possible without the subject matter experts who you see standing with me, who each have their respective lanes and are responsible for their respective departments and industries. They have done an amazing job, and we've got to come up here and memorialize this moment because we haven't done this since we've, you know, reached all of these agreements. So thank you all so much.
You don't need to worry about it, Mike. One's up.
Oh, yeah, guess who wasn't